Consider the case of Sarah May, all tuckered out at the end of her day. While across the hall, still full of drive, is Mary Lou. She's alive after 5. What makes the difference? Well, let's turn the clock back and see. Mary Lou lets electricity take the hard work out of typing. You see, she asked her boss to get her a Remington electric typewriter. What do you think of it, Mary Lou?
Just great. You know, typing can be real hard labor. For instance, do you know that in the course of a day's work, you return the carriage about 1,700 times? That takes real arm work in an old-style machine like this. But now watch this Remington electric. Just press this key, and presto. You don't have to pound the keys either. Electricity does the work. It's so easy to turn out beautiful letters your boss will be proud to sign. And say, with a Remington electric, you can turn out 15 or more real sharp carbons with no extra effort on your part. You know, a machine like this really saves money for your boss because it helps you get your work done faster. So, take it from me. With a Remington electric, you really feel alive after 5.
Remington Rand, the first name in typewriters. The only company manufacturing all 3 office typewriters. The electric, available in 6 beautiful pastel colors. The noiseless. And the standard. Plus a complete line of portables. After a small down payment, you may take up to 30 months to purchase any of these machines.
It became the most controversial courtroom battle of the century.
Objection!
Science versus religion.
Never let them question the power of the Almighty!
Evolution against creation.
How do you know that God didn't speak to Charles Darwin? God has told me to oppose the teaching of that man!
Jason Robards, Kirk Douglas, Inherit the Wind, next.
Heavyweight sweats and tees. The activewear that's right for however you play. Discus Athletic, the way America plays.
Horse or pig?
This is a document in the digital office where you capture ideas and share them effortlessly. Whether they're on paper or on your screen, this is the space where Xerox works, giving you a simpler way to do good work.
Why are we climbing this tree? For Wilkins coffee. I don't want any. It's autumn and the nuts are beginning to fall.
Imagine being as powerful.
Twix puts the dig in your gig. It puts the boom into your beat.
Puts the rhythm in your feet.
Keeps you rocking along. Puts the soul into your song. Keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on moving with Twix. Chocolate caramel satisfaction. Like just the cookie gets you back in the action.
Nothing to sticks a Twix can't fix.
Foot slip, smack, back in your rap. Keep on, keep on, keep on moving with Twix.
Thursday. When it comes to the subject of violence, don't fail your kids. Talk with them.
The More You Know is sponsored by General Motors.
Taco Bell introduces the chalupa.
Ooh.
With a shell so crispy.
Ay, ay, ay.
So flaky.
Oh.
So chewy and tasty.
Hurt me.
You'll wonder why we put anything in them at all.
Por favor, drop the chalupa.
Get your hands on one now for just 99 cents. If you don't love it, we'll give you your money back. Only at Taco Bell.
They're back. Happy New Year, amigos. 4 new Chihuahuas are ready to party. Get yours now at Taco Bell.
To be as he is because things needed saying, and the young people were the ones who wanted to say them, and they wanted to say them in their own way. he somehow had an ear on his generation. And he has set a pace for many people and is now, well, he's now continuing in the same way, and there are many others that are joining him. I don't have to tell you, you know him, he's yours, Bob Dylan.
This is Carl. It's all right, Ma. I'm only bleeding. Ho, ho, ho.
Will concentrate on the top 3 boat classes. Opens, which are 35 to 50-foot crafts that can hit speeds of 120 miles an hour. Modifieds, designated with an M beside their numbers, can reach speeds of 110 miles per hour. Pro stockers, 23 to 40-foot boats, top out at 90 miles per hour. But it's a safe bet to say all classes participating will have plenty of exciting moments, making the 1986 offshore races the best yet.
Okay, before we start talking about all the boats that are going to be in the race and everything like that, Ernie, briefly, how do you feel about this course?
Chris, it's a good course. It is set up to both give them some high-performance speed running and also an offshore challenge, particularly for the modified and the open class boats. So you're going to see a lot of action out there today, particularly on television with the coverage we've got.
Okay, when we get back, we'll be talking about the boats, the lineup. Tim's going to join us because he knows what the fellows are going through right at this moment. Folks, we'll continue with the Nissan 150 powerboat races live from Fort Myers Beach right after this.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will return after these messages.
City's entertainment pages. The Beatles took us by storm in 1964 on their first tour of America. They made a total of 3 Bay Area concert appearances, and their following here was as rabid as it was anywhere.
Oh, please let me be, Paul!
What good do you think this would do?
I can show him I love him!
Lonely do. 13-year-old girls might have been on the front lines, but there were plenty of other fans back in the trenches. Rich Bandoni and Doug Carraway were among them.
The males were cool and imitators. The females were admirers.
The night of August 29th, 1966, Candlestick Park was packed with kids like Rich and Doug. Kids who would be stunned when they heard the news months later that this had been the Beatles' final concert together anywhere. While the Beatles were making headlines around the world, a new revolution in music was quietly taking place right here in the Bay Area. Some would say that the San Francisco music scene really got its start on a cold, foggy day in Golden Gate Park, when members of San Francisco's activist street theater, the Mime Troupe, were arrested for using obscene language in a play. Their public relations man at the time was a novice to the theatrical world.
Beautiful game, but not as you know it. Mario Smash Football, only for Nintendo GameCube.
もうこれは残りですから、すごいな。愛ちゃん。愛ちゃんすごいな。まあ見ていきましょう。所さんが79万9998円。もう残りこんだけ。ですね。松崎しげるさんが948円。もうこれだけ。富水正さん10円。 そして飯島愛さん9000万円。
小室さんプロデュースで出してる CD でアルバム出してもらった所さんに、で所さんを東京ドーム貸し切って私が所さんのコンサートをしましょう。
うちの経理の古藤のね。コンサートをね、2人で手を結んで、ああそれいいかもしれない。それで俺らは遊んでんの。最高。
というわけで今回はですね、この商品は飯島愛さんがなくさってございます。おめでとうございます。
There's not a camera store there that takes American Express.
There's a great shot.
Visa Gold. It's everywhere you want to be.
Controlling the giant tube isn't always easy. Even so, Steve is optimistic.
After going around, how do you feel? I'm feeling pretty good. I don't know how many hours a guy could take of this a day. But...
In yet another test, the tube goes completely out of control. For Dar and Steve, inner tube guidance is a challenging problem that they must solve. Two cars provide a possible solution.
Car, but keep your heading. I don't want you steering off of it. Okay. Keep him so he's almost a little more that side of the rim. Okay. Now, Steve, you about ready?
Ready, Gary? Okay.
Now another crucial test. Steve uses a foam pad to help absorb the shock and compression of the jump. Here he goes. The cars will try to guide the tube onto the takeoff ramp. It doesn't go as planned.
He's not to go. He's got to get over there. He's got to keep over it.
The tube veers off the ramp.
Oh, he's going to fall out of it.
Steve hangs on and he's okay, but it could have been a serious accident. Despite the mishap, Dar feels certain that the cars can guide the tube. He also outfits Steve with additional safety equipment.
Just tell me how tight you want that there. How's that? That's good. All right. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere when I'm in there.
Okay. Go ahead.
See y'all later. Oh, is it cool?
Okay, Steve, I want you to sit in there, and I don't want to strap. Yeah, no, I want you to go down, slide down a little farther. The strap is right behind your helmet.
Ah.
All right. Okay, we're ready to bring the cars in.
Finally, this is it. The first ramp-to-ground inner tube distance jump ever attempted. No matter how far Steve goes, it will be an automatic world record. It's a perfect approach. He's off. Again, the net holds, and Steve's okay. He's a little sore from all the bouncing, but he's done something that no man has ever done before, and he set a world record.
19 feet 4 inches.
19 feet 4 inches, a record that stands alone and unchallenged.
20-foot limousine right there.
The limousine is actually 22 feet long. Now, a daring attempt to break his own standing record.
Video cassette and DVD. Free your mind. What you couldn't believe at the movies now comes home. It's the movie critics call a virtual masterpiece. Buy or rent it today.
トップラコーナー最上段からしかしこれはうまくそして得意のこの余裕トベコンヒロ
なんかあれですねコーナーに上がるスピードから飛ぶスピードから全然違ったですね。
同じことをやっても全く、もちろん技が違うんですがコーナーに上がる
今までね倒れてたのに
もうあんだけ観客にアピールする余裕がねまだまだありますからね。さあ風間はまだまだ起き上がってこない。今のトペコンヒーローまともに食らってはちょっとダメージが残っているのか。さあ北斗もうそろそろ決めようかという危ない。今のはキックで
距離が来たんですね。今のはとっても風間選手いい動きだったですね。
研究してきたんでしょうね当然。あれを食らってしまってはもうおしまいと言って一貫のおしまい。これを相手のスピンキックを受けてそのままバックホールド。危ない。おっと危ない。おっと今の北斗の表情どうですか。
まだ か普通だったですね。
こうなんと無機質な
なんかあまりにも普通すぎて怖いというね
見せていましたけれども、どういうことなのか。うまく丸めてカウントはカウント2。今のもね最近多用するサイドからのタイガードライバーだったんですけれども、これもうまく切り返していった風間。さあ沖野と一声かけてミサイルキックか。
今のは下から足を
キックを蹴り上げたんですね。返していった。いや風間今ここで休んでいる気はあります。
the most powerful man in the universe. Only 3 others share this secret. Our friends, the sorceress, and our...
右四つ、ここで水が入りました。行司20代木村庄之助水入り。先頭再開です。依然として右四つ、差し手を返す双葉山、上手が引けない玉錦。双葉山寄りました。双葉山寄りました。寄り倒し双葉山の勝ち。双葉山5場所連続の全勝優勝、合わせて66連勝です。玉錦はこの年昭和13年12月34歳で現役死亡。現役最後の一番となりました。横綱2場所目、5場所連続の全勝優勝、通算66連勝の双葉山、優勝賜杯を受けます。双葉山と五津島の挑戦を受ける双葉山、66連勝中です。立ち上がりました。右四つになりました。双葉山右四つ、右の差し手を返す。五津島左の上手は一重。いい体勢になった双葉山、上手投げ。五津島、双葉山寄る、双葉山寄る、五津島残す、双葉山寄る、寄り倒し双葉山の勝ち、67連勝です。67連勝中の双葉山、立浪部屋、竜王山は出羽ノ海部屋。立ち上がりました。右からをつける双葉山、突っ張る竜王山、応戦。双葉山押した、突き放した、突き放し双葉山の勝ち、68連勝です。双葉山、今日の相手は駒の里。今場所も初日から2連勝、5場所連続優勝中の双葉山。丸い体を律しての一気の押しが得意、駒の里。立ち上がりました。駒の里一気に出る。双葉山左の上手投げ、双葉山の勝ち。双葉山69連勝です。全く危なげありません。 横綱双葉山、今日は新鋭秋の海戦です。入幕3場所目で初の挑戦となります秋の海。連勝記録70。
It's been a tradition in Jacksonville for over 35 years. We've always known Jacksonville to be a big league city, and we're proud to have the Jaguars in Jacksonville.
Let's continue to work together to show the country what a first-class city Jacksonville is.
Ed no podía dormir. Se fue a dar una vuelta. Se le cayó una chica encima. Se enamoró de ella. Y vaya lo que se le cayó encima. Una noche alucinante, como para tirarte al suelo.
Scooby-Doo on Cartoonolio. An all-new block, Saturday at 3 on Cartoon Network.
Next Friday on CCF, travel back in time to the two greatest discoveries of man, fire and the wheel. It's a special presentation of Long Hair and Double Dome. Next Friday at 8 on Cartoon Fridays.
One day, he came home to find his mother weeping, which was very unusual. She was a tough, hard woman who had essentially kept the family together. He said, "Never mind, Mother, I'll take care of you, and someday we'll ride in a coach." She said, "What good would that do if the people in Dunfermline can't see us riding in a coach?" That became his goal, to be rich enough to take his mother back and for them to ride together in a coach through the streets of Dunfermline.
Soon, Andrew was able to buy a house at the edge of Pittsburgh, away from the smoke and grime. Margaret would hire a servant. While Tom finished school, Andrew was pushing ahead.
One day Scott was gone and Carnegie was in the office. A message arrived about a wreck. The line is blocked, the trains have stopped moving, and Carnegie steps in and takes charge. Though he doesn't have specific authority to do this, he assumes the authority.
Carnegie sent out the messages telling the men what to do about the wreck, get the trains moving again, signed them all TAS, Thomas A. Scott. He said to himself, "My boy, this is death or Westminster Abbey."
When Scott returned, he assessed the situation. He saw what had happened, what Carnegie had done, and he glowered at Carnegie and said nothing. And Andy feared for a time that perhaps he had done wrong, but a story got back to him that Scott had told an associate, "Let me tell you what that little white-haired Scots devil of mine did."
Faced with another wreck, Carnegie wired boldly, "Burn the cars." Scott was amazed, but burning cars became standard procedure following wrecks to cut delays and cut.
Pick my nose. A magician with a mysterious illness and a challenge that'll make house history.
Bring me the thong of Lisa Cuddy.
Don't blink.
Oh my God.
You won't believe your eyes.
Over lots and lots of atoms, all obeying these very simple rules, come out that it evolves into such a creature that a billion years of life with its experiences has produced a thing with prongs that stick out like this and so on. There's such a lot in the world, there's so much distance between the fundamental rules and the final phenomena that it's almost unbelievable that the final variety of phenomena can come from such a steady operation of such simple rules.
But you've had to build the most complex scaffolding to find out the simple rules.
But it is not complicated. It's just a lot of it. And if you'd start at the beginning, which nobody wants to do, I mean, you come in to me now in an interview and you're asking me about the latest discoveries that have been made. Nobody ever asks about a simple, ordinary phenomenon in the street. Oh, like, what about those colors? Or something like that. We have a nice interview, explain all about the colors, butterfly wings, whole big deal. You don't care about that. You want the big final result. So then it's going to be complicated.
Playful Dave.
Derek Thompson didn't believe in dreams.
I'm going to play hockey just like you.
Lower your expectations. And he didn't believe in fairy tales.
There's two fairies going to visit me tonight.
There's no such thing as
Derek.
Until he became one.
My
Micro Machine Man, and this is the seriously small Micro Machine Service City, the perfect place to take your micros for serious servicing. This place has it all. Movable garage doors, liftable lifts, simply amazing service bay, 2-level parking, and a totally terrific turning turntable in the super showroom. The service here is simply stupendous. Micro Machine Service City from Galoob. Remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machine, it's not the real thing.
To local construction firms, it proved a mess.
They discovered that the contractors were bidding against each other for the fairly limited labor market, and they weren't getting the job done. And so it seemed to them that a better way to do it was for one of them to go out and just have one contract and supervise and coordinate all of the construction effort. And for whatever reason, Charles Crocker was the man that became the contractor initially. And Theodore Judah was uncomfortable with that.
He just did not trust Crocker. He didn't trust the idea. He was afraid that these men were going to try to bleed the railroad dry. He wasn't convinced that they were really serious about doing it.
Judah didn't have a good working relationship after the start with the Big Four, and they really took the reins in their hands after they could see there was feasible civil engineering ways of going through the mountains, and that's what they did. They left Judah by the wayside.
Even as their crews were grading along Judah's line, the Sacramento shopkeepers were slow in paying their chief engineer. They canceled contracts Judah had made with iron makers in the East, even questioned his lines of survey.
In the summer of 1863, there's a showdown, and they basically tell Judah, either you buy us out or we'll buy you out. But there was absolutely no way they were going to go down the same path together from that point on. Officially, Judah was still carried as chief engineer of the Central Pacific Railroad. But Judah sailed east for the East Coast in the fall of 1863. He had seen grade built. He had seen a bridge built at Sacramento. He had not seen any rail laid. He had not seen any locomotives. He had not seen any part of the railroad. Judah is heading to New York. We know that he's looking for partners there to help him buy out these guys in California that he's not getting along with.
Judah was really convinced that he could find some backers in the East. He maybe even had them lined up. So he and his wife got on the boat and headed down to Panama, crossed Panama, got on another boat heading for New York. And we will never know who those secret partners might have been, because Judah contracted either typhoid or...
Exclusively with Dick Tracy.
When you shake a bottle of Kraft Zesty Italian, get ready to pour. Because once those true Italian ingredients start blending and building, the flavor gets so big, it could just start without you. Kraft Italian, one of the salad wonders of the world.
Bells humming on the asphalt, wiggle in the middle of the night in a truck stop, summer in a restaurant, wondering why I don't stop. Well, I gotta keep rocking while I still can. Got a two-pack habit in a motel tank. With my boots hit the boards, I'm a brand.
Steve Earle was one of the first Nashville artists to embrace mainstream rock.
When I saw Springsteen do Born in the USA, it just became very clear to me that there should always be a song that's a really personal statement. That's where, the reason for the song to exist comes from something I really need to say about myself. I think to truck drivers it sounded familiar, and they thought it was about them even though it was about me. anyone that travels for a living can relate to.
But I heard someone calling my name one day, and I followed that voice down a lost highway. Everybody tell me.
If he'd only known it, Steve Earle's rock leanings held the clue to the next assault on the country citadel. A one-man, 10-ton truck of an act from Oklahoma was about to smash its way into the business.
I remember his audition day very well because he ran in here late, and I still have his application from that day, and I remember writing late across the top. He sang a song, and the audience went crazy for it.
Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots and ruined your blind tie affair.
It was one of those magic Bluebird moments. In years of Sunday Night Writers' Nights, we have had very, very few standing ovations, and that's the first one I remember. Not at the end of his performance, but at the end of the song. So if anybody ever asks, you know, that he's really talented, I can tell you, oh yeah, he really is. In this small room with no band and no trapezes and everything else, he really came across.
Watching The Daily Show? Watching over 1,400 episodes of The Daily Show. Now at thedailyshow.com, see clips from every Daily Show with Jon Stewart ever.
The one thing you cannot argue about are the savings.
Watch now at thedailyshow.com.
Of the jungle and his elephant chef will return. So what does Shep stand for anyway? Sybil Shepherd? Wake up and smell the peanuts, George.
Now my choice of a film from the silent era that I think you will find irresistible and that will send you back to the video store for more. My selection is the unfortunately heavily edited masterpiece Greed from 1925. Originally conceived as a 9-hour movie, it was cut by director Erich von Stroheim down to 3¼ hours and then cut another hour by the MGM studio chief Irving Thalberg. Greed is about a San Francisco dentist who is attracted to one of his female patients. Notice the taboos in this scene as he kisses her while she is unconscious, wrapped in bandages that look a lot like a nun's habit. Maybe that's why the scene is preceded with this fabulous title card laying blame for his behavior on his father's genes. They do get married. She wins the lottery, $5,000, and the money changes everyone. She has dumped her old boyfriend, her new husband's best friend, who could handle the loss of his woman, but is crazed over the loss of the lottery ticket money, and so he leaves town. And when we see her alone with all of her money, she's ecstatic, rubbing her hands with gold coins. Look at those hands, so sinewy. I don't think they're hers. At the end of the film, her husband wanders in the desert alone with the money, but eventually is tracked down by the old money-crazed friend. Their struggle for gold coins is, of course, pointless. They're both doomed, linked together by handcuffs in the concluding struggle, linked together by greed. Greed is one of the greatest dramas ever filmed. The depth of emotion is flat out, without seeming silly. Maybe because the movies back then were clearly fantasies, eager to dazzle, to surprise, and to amaze.
You know, in this whole talk about film preservation and films that were cut or lost or destroyed, the most tragic thing I found out about Greed was that the full 9-hour version existed until 1957 in the MGM vaults when it was thrown out.
Yeah.
27 years after.
Floor?
Yeah.
We have special rooms that are only for models.
I think I'm booked in on the 4th floor, aren't I?
Yes, you are. Better
Could you
place
tell?
with the models. Oh, yeah.
I know the chin's
Definitely.
Center console is just a euphemism for trash can. So in the all-new Caravan, Dodge did it differently. With a power outlet and places for everything, it's a regular personal organizer. It even moves from front to back. So no matter where you go, there it is. Dodge Grand Caravan, the best minivan ever. Different.
All aboard!
Wait for me.
A porcupine. On my train. and with a popping suitcase.
I'm Poppy, and those are my sugar corn pops. They're just popping with crunchy sweet taste. You can try them.
Well, if it doesn't take too long.
Kellogg's Sugar Corn Pop cereal, a popping good part of this nutritious breakfast.
Mmm, delicious. Poppy, I wouldn't miss these for anything.
Even for our train?
Even for my train.
All night long I've been dreaming and scheming a way to escape. The warden and guards, they all bore me. Life in prison was never meant for me. All in all, I said I hate to leave my cell, mateys.
Okay, but we all understand.
My loving buddies are sorry, so very, very, very sorry, warden dear. About time scramming from here. Now I am going to go. Yes, I am going to scram. Yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to scram. I'm going to take it on the lam. Good. Bye. Bye-bye. Nice voice there. Nice voice. Great possibilities. Fine boy. Fine boy. He's gone. He's gone. He escaped. Why don't somebody do something? Do something. See, that's a good idea. Maybe I can do something. Sure.
Here comes our old friend Elsie with another wonderful Borden treat for your children. She's bringing Dutch cocoa all the way to America for Borden's real Dutch chocolate-flavored milk. Where else could you get an imported flavored treat that's so easy to serve? No mixing. You just pour it right from the carton. My young neighbors here really go for that good chocolate flavor. And when they ask why it's called Dutch, I always tell them that Borden's Dutch chocolate milk is flavored the real Dutch way, with the finest imported Dutch cocoa. That's why it's so smooth and rich tasting, like no other chocolate milk they ever drank. It gives your youngsters lots of good milk nourishment, too, like vitamins, minerals, and proteins. And you know how important that is. So treat your children to Borden's Dutch chocolate-flavored milk real soon. They'll love it.
Up next, want to meet Mr. Mischief? Just wait until you see the kids' show, Choose Up Sides. Then, Gene hosts the 1962 pilot of Match Game. Stay tuned.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
Honey, what's this?
The cordless electronic telephone, on sale for only $99.95.
This'll really save me space.
The convenient cordless telephone has a 100-foot range and an AM/FM clock radio base unit.
Oh, honey, it's a perfect gift for Christmas.
It's for my mother? Maybe not. The sale-priced cordless electronic telephone with AM/FM digital clock radio, only at Radio Shack.
Just 4 pins through 7 frames.
Walter Ray has some memories here. In '86, he needed only a mark in the 10th frame to defeat Mark Baker and capture the King Louis Open. And he was just coming off a big win in Peoria, but he left an almost unmakeable 8-10 split and had to settle for second.
Chris, and that was really an unlucky 8-10. Some 8-10s are light in the pocket with no power. He left a wall shot 8-10. Look at this shot. Boom.
That strike coming in the 8th frame for Walter Ray Williams. Odrobanak is now up, strike working, needs one here. 8 for Odrobanak. very close competition this week. John had to defeat Ron Palumbi last night, final game, to make the telecast. And with strikes like that, Mom and Dad and Brother Larry are all for it. There's great family support on the Professional Bowlers Tour. Has been from, well, when we started 28 years ago. Parents get out and fly distances to cheer on their sons.
And especially for the young guys, Chris, when they're competing against established stars, a guy like a Drobanek going against a Walter Ray Williams Jr., who is a Farmer Player of the Year, can use a little family backing. And right now, with one more strike, he'd have a 24-pin lead.
First, relaxed smile we've seen all afternoon from the competitor. There he is, John, and his parents. Now Walter Ray. Strike in the 8th, the 9th frame shot.
The damage to the wing area of the Oh Boy Oberto. Will it affect the running in the final heat? We're going to find out just moments away as we get ready to determine the winner of the Budweiser Indiana Governor's Cup. Another chapter in the HFC Hydroplane Series.
He shoots the gap. Haddix can't get up and make the block.
Tony can't handle it.
Anthony Tony can't block it. And Totalatasi goes down.
Young's having a nice Sunday afternoon.
Well, you know, he's designated to stay around Randall Cunningham, and so it makes a difference when you're that close to the ball all the time.
Here the draw to Tony, and guess who he had to jump over? Young again. So it's 3rd and long. He can move. He's big, 233.
Well, there you see him right at the lower part of your screen. Patrick Hunter on the outside. Now he fires in, cuts down the back trying to block him, and makes the tackle. He's just all over the place.
You've got to have backs who can block linebackers. If you don't, you're not going to move the ball.
Yeah, but you don't find too many that can.
And Jacob Green. Now, how's that for a 1-2 punch with Green and Young? A 6-yard loss and the 6th sack of the Philadelphia quarterback today.
He got sacked twice consecutively at the end of the half and then had to scramble out on the Hail Mary pass. Now they come out the first time they try and throw the football, and he gets sacked again. And it's being done by the front 4, or front 3, I should say, of the Seattle defense, which has got to make them feel awful good about the pressure they're getting on the quarterback.
This is the 5th punt by Telchik. Do you think they'll be coming after it again?
No, I don't think so. They're going to set up for a return now.
Edmonds waits inside his 40. You were right, Joe. Punt's not very well covered by the Eagles. The ball to the 33. Now it's covered. Out to the 45. And a good starting position for Seattle. They have the lead 21-6 here early in the 3rd quarter. Total 12 have already played. Jets play Monday. Denver lost today. Cincinnati won. And New England won their game. And that was a look at the playoff standings in the AFC. We'll check into that further as a first down pass by Craig goes long down the middle.
And thus join Disney's long chain of roller coasters housed inside mountains. Space Mountain is the most famous, but the first was the Matterhorn at Disneyland. In fact, the Matterhorn made roller coaster history when it debuted in 1959.
Roller coasters originally were always made of wood, and it would have flat steel plates attached to the top of the wood and to the sides of the wood. This had to go inside a Matterhorn mountain. There was no way to do the conventional woodwork.
One afternoon, we got to the auditorium quite early, and we sat there on the steps of the auditorium, and he confided in me that he was getting ready to cross over to secular music, and I was saying to myself, God, he's going to cross over to secular music. What if he doesn't make it? They're not going to let him come back in. So I'm like, Sam, you better know what you're doing.
Crossing over was considered an act of betrayal by many in the gospel community. If he didn't want to alienate his gospel fan base, Sam would need to tread very carefully.
lovable, my girl, she's lovable.
In January 1957, Sam Cooke's record label released a pop version of a Soul Stirrers hit sung by Dale Cook, an unknown singer whose voice was strangely familiar.
She's so lovable.
Everybody knew that was Sam. It's something about Sam. When you hear one of Sam's songs, you know right away. That's Sam.
There's not another quite as sweet as you. I know I'll always love you. You're so lovable. I know she's a...
Sam tried to deny ever making the record, even telling the Soul Stirrers that Dale was one of his brothers. Nobody was fooled, least of all the gospel audience.
We were on the same program when Sam sang his last gospel program. And, he had made a song that sounded so much like one of his gospel songs. Wonderful, God is so wonderful. And this other song was lovable, my girl is so lovable. And everybody knew it was Sam, He changed his name. He put a different name on that one, And so when Sam got up to sing with the Soul Stirrers and Memphis, all of these little sisters, you sit down, we know that's you. We don't want to hear, we know it's you. And Sam just threw his hands up. He said, that's it.
In May
Adventure is on the horizon. Stanley's going buggy. Mario Brothers have their hands full, and Donkey Kong's going ape. It's rough seas for Popeye, and Snoopy's got to get on the ball. But you can help. You got Nintendo Game & Watch. That's pocket power. Widescreen or multi-screen games you can play indoors or out. They tell you the score and even the time. They're pocket power. They're Game & Watch. 14 in all, only from Nintendo.
And
I'm in trouble.
can Danny Aiello keep a fashion designer from getting burned?
This is a business matter. Keep out of it. Not a chance in hell.
Della Ventura, following Jag and Michael Hayes, CBS Tuesday.
A tour of duty becomes a mission of love.
I want to adopt Danny, sir.
You're willing to give up your career for this baby?
5th at 8/7 Central, we're bringing you a brand new Nicktoon all about surviving junior high.
In a world, deal with their problems.
Does my breath smell fresh?
No. And their pain.
Mother! I wish I were elsewhere.
Amanda Bynes is...
Moody. Moody.
There you are. Don't...
シュールさん大丈夫ですか？はい、なんとか生きてますけども。いやー、今どうしたんですか？僕はジャンボホルがすっ飛んできたと思ったらチャンピオンがすっ飛んできたんですね。 そうなんです。 放送席見えなかったんですけども。 ジャガーがジャンボを机の上に叩き込もうとしましたら、逆にね、ジャンボがジャガーの体を塩野さんに投げたんですね。 びっくりしましたですね。チャンピオンも相当に参った感じだったんですけども、リングの上に戻ってほっといたしました。いや、しかし今日は塩野さんと場外乱闘っていうのはやはり相当両選手とも苦しかったんでしょうか。意識してるんでしょうね。だから
横田にすればね、あれ、モンスターでこういう場面がいくらでもあるだろうと考えてますよね。カラフルになってやられたと、やっぱりいい勉強になってるんじゃないですか。なるほどね。で、ジャンプにすればね、逆に取ったと。ある程度自信つけてますよ。こういう試合ではね。勉強にならなかったのはもう放送席だけでね、アナウンサーとしては全く勉強にならないんですけども、困りますですね。
でもね、ジャガー横田のお尻の下の方は血が出てましたよ。 本当ですよね。 いやー、手こずってますよね。今間近にお尻を拝見しましたからね。攻撃が出ました。あれはどうでしょうか。今の聞いてますけども、モンスターリッパー相手にどうなんでしょうか。と上田さんはお思いですか。
僕は無理なんじゃないか。
なるほどね。
ああいう作戦軽く損じゃないかと思いますね。
あの手でじゃ効かない。ね、日本の選手相手だと聞いてるんですけども、これもちょっとね。
体が大きいですからね。
こういう体勢なかなかなりませんよね。これはジャンボホリが限界でしょう。こうなりますと確かにですね、いくつかね、ジャンボホリ相手だからということもあるのかもわかりませんが、今度は足4の字かりました。さあどうでしょうか。今日は前線検討のジャンボホリ、 簡単にはギブアップはしないでしょう。しかしがっちりと足をが勝っております。ポジションもいいようですよ。
これを耐えなくてはいけないですね。
そりゃそうですね。
やっぱり回転して外さなくちゃいけないですよね。
そうしてね、なんとか外してもらいたいんですけども、ちょっと動けないですね。あ、ようやく後ろの方ですか。
軽いですからね、それを持っていこうと言います
よ。どうでしょうか。ああ、足に手が届きましたですが、また蹴られてしまいました。なんとかこのピンチは逃げてもらいたいですね。
今堀があったですね。走っていきましたね。ああいう方法は。
144 million items stored in a complex of 5 main buildings. On Capitol Hill, the Jefferson, Madison, and Adams buildings house many collections and most of the staff who perform tasks from barcoding to copyright registration to preservation.
Now it's Megas XLR. Then it's Evil Con Carne. This is Cartoon Network. Now it's Time Squad. Then it's Johnny Bravo. This is Cartoon Network. Now it's Dice. Then it's Pet Alien. This is Cartoon Network.
Burger technology is amazing, but if you prefer taste and technology, come to Subway. You'll get fresh baked bread, fresh veggies, and if you want fresh with less fat, we have 7 sandwiches under 6 grams of fat. Take the Subway Challenge at a Subway near you.
When I grow up, I want to be a clown or a bullfighter.
Strange movie only because it takes so long to tell such a predictable story, the story of a cop with old-fashioned values fighting a worldwide drug conspiracy. Brian Dennehy plays the detective hero here, who along with his partners begin tracking a gang of drug dealers. The bad guys get away, and Dennehy is pressured by his boss to cool it.
Look, Frank, your medical report came back. They say you're borderline. But I'd say you're slipping over the edge, I mean. Well, that's where we live. We're cops, Joe. Remember?
And yes, there's a big shootout at the end, but not before Dennehy confronts his foes and colleagues who are on the take from the drug dealers.
Kill him.
Come on, Frank!
No!
The Last of the Finest is elaborate enough to show a whole network of corruption involving businessmen and high-ranking politicians as well as law enforcement officials, but the movie hardly seems real. The dialogue is stilted. Maybe you're slipping over the edge. That's the way we live. We're cops, remember? Of course he remembers. I mean, that's phony material. And the story plays out like an overlong first draft before repetitive scenes have been removed. I don't think this would even work as a made-for-TV movie.
I was disappointed, too. And, you know, the movie was directed by John McKenzie, the same man who made The Long Good Friday, which was a very good film. This one, I put my finger on the same thing. There are a lot of scenes in this movie that don't pay off, that have no apparent purpose, and that seem to repeat the same material over and over so that it isn't wound up and stretched tight from beginning to end.
Yeah.
The other problem the movie has, now oddly enough, it's a rarity among cop movies in that the cops are liberals and the bad guys are conservatives who are trying to support the Contras in Nicaragua. They don't mention the country, but it's obviously a Contra support group. The irony there, of course, is that the recent victory of the Contras in Nicaragua and the capitulation of the Sandinistas changes the whole...
Another first down for Seattle. Third down and short yardage, you're going to see a little pick pattern here by the Seahawks. Number one, he gets fine pass protection, but if we can open this up just a little bit more, you'll see the Largent comes down inside, and he actually picks the defender off of Scancy here, and he gets the yardage for the first down. Very difficult to defend against it. You've got to play man-to-man defense in a third down and short situation like that. Seattle started from their own 12-yard line. They're up to the 37. Dropper in trouble, dumps it off to John Williams. Williams motoring down the sideline. Still in bounds and inside the 40. Big play by Williams. 23 yards and the first down.
really enjoy this play by John L. Williams. First of all, he's got to find his way through the crowd there, make the catch, and now watch how he sets up his blockers. Great job there, but the great thing he does at the end is he doesn't quit. A lot of guys would have just stepped out of bounds there, but no, he turns it upfield and really picks up about 8 more yards.
Gene Atkins made the stop. First and 10 at the 39 of the Saints. Stopper has played. He's got it inside the 20. 20 yards that time. Maxey on the stop.
Big plays are contagious, and everybody wants to get in on the act. This is Blade's turn on the corner route against the zone defense. The line is giving Stopper time to throw, and he drops it right in the bucket.
6 catches for 90 yards for rookie Brian Blades, who's in there to stay. And wide receiver for the Seahawks, who have a first down at the New Orleans 19.
Hi, welcome to the Cheating Gourmet, where we make it easier to get out of the kitchen. Today we have 7 ways to cheat with new Joy of Chicken. Let's try Joy of Chicken Sweet and Sour. Just pour the sauce on, bake or grill, and almost no time in the kitchen. Who's going to know? You say you want a crispy coating? Try Joy of Chicken Lemon Herb. So simple, so delicious. So get out of the kitchen!
New Joy of Chicken. 7 delicious ways to make chicken from French's.
I have the ability to bend this rod just using my mind. Well, then I have the ability to run a funny new video.
When you're hungry and you don't know how to talk, you do whatever you can to get your message across.
Hi, Dad. Oh, don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Oh, no. You're putting marks on me, Tom. Don't do it. Hi, Daddy. Ow! Hi, Daddy. Mom, come on, have a quick guy, just a little.
Well, finally, in our 6th season, I'm going to be able to get close to the $100,000 because I've got 2 little friends in high places. It's my buddies, Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen.
Back off, Bob, if you know what's good for you.
Please, just let me take a quick look at the money, please.
Sorry, your producers gave us strict instructions. If you don't play by the rules, we'll start telling stories about how you act at work.
It's time for me to introduce the first 4 of our 7 finalists in random order.
Diamond rings can also provide a great aerobic workout.
Oh, forget the little toy poodle. I'm going after something a lot chewier. I smell a cat in there and I'm going after it. You know, I've always wanted to be a vegetarian. I'm out of here.
No, I never met a dog I didn't scare.
I'll sure be glad to get rid of this used plutonium.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by Cybersmith, wired for fun and learning, with locations in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Palo Alto, California, and White Plains, New York. And by TechWeb, for up-to-the-minute technology news.
Got milk?
Well, look who's here. The gym class joke.
That was before fat-free rolled gold pretzels.
Prove it, pretzel boy.
Must be the pretzels. Wanna dance?
For great taste that's fat-free. Must be the pretzels. It must be rolled gold.
One summer, when I was about 13 years old, we took a family vacation up here to Chicago to visit our relatives. They lived in this beautiful house that was just down the street from the lake. It was marble and staircases, and it had a fountain in the living room. We rang the doorbell. Aunt Sherry opened the door, hugs and kisses, and then says, "Tracy, they're here." And Tracy comes down the steps. She has bondage pants, Doc Marten boots, her head is shaved. She's a punk rocker.
What could persuade a kid to act like that?
Maybe the greatest persuader there is, music.
I'd only seen that on television shows like Quincy or Chips. When you see that in real life, I mean, it's like seeing a UFO or Bigfoot.
I remember coming downstairs like, all right, you know, I'm all punk now, you know, and you guys being, oh my God.
I met your cousin Tracy when I was 9. I was 10 years old when we started that band. Punk rock was ours. Punk rock was our scene, even though we were so fucking young.
First yesterday got together and formed a band. 4 young folks from Evanston. They call their group Verboten.
They're going to play an original song they wrote called My Opinion, and now here they are, Verboten.
He's looking for the key for the act of you and me.
It was Jason, Chris, and Zach. And all 3 were younger than I was. I was 14. You know, I just believed that we could do whatever. Like, at one point, I was like, well, let's just summer tour. At one point, and Jason's dad's like, my son's 10. You know, like, I'd like him to finish 5th grade.
There's even a bonus novel on the cover. It's the biggest Cosmo ever. March Cosmo, out now. Who says size doesn't matter?
If we were all the same, it might well be a lot easier to choose glasses. But OPSM Express has a much better way. It's called OPSM Total Image Framing, a proven system that matches your glasses to your face shape, colouring and lifestyle. Come into OPSM Express and see how easy it is to find the perfect match for your face. Perfect.
I think we've lost him. Like a lead.
Well, boy.
Somebody has to protect them while Father's on the trail. But their protector turns out to be an ugly yellow dog.
He's a pretty yellow dog.
The best-loved dog of all time.
You crazy, wonderful dog.
And Walt Disney's most memorable family adventure.
Wieder ist ein Sommer ins Land gegangen. Aber noch ist manche Arbeit zu tun. Und dabei leistet die Arbeitskleidung unserer volkseigenen und genossenschaftlichen Bekleidungsbetriebe gute Dienste. Haltbar ist sie, praktisch und kleidsam, auch für junge Mädchen. Unsere Kinder sind in der farbenfrohen Strickkleidung gut angezogen. Vielfältig ist die Auswahl in sportlicher Straßenkleidung. Für schönes, aber auch für schlechtes Wetter. Konsumkleidung immer modisch und preiswert. Unter diesem Motto sehen Sie jetzt im Kulturhaus eine Modenschau mit einer kleinen Auswahl aus unserem Herbst- und Winterangebot. Die Konsumgenossenschaft empfiehlt Ihnen für die kältere Jahreszeit Hauskleider, Tageskleider und Kostüme, in denen Sie sich wohlfühlen werden. Auch an unsere stärkeren Frauen wurde gedacht. Für die Jüngeren Hemdkleider. Mit und ohne Gürtel zu tragen. Dieses nette kunstseidene Kleid und der interessante Mantel sind weitere Beispiele aus unserem reichhaltigen Angebot. Und zum Schluss möchte ich Ihnen noch zeigen, wie wir Herren uns kleiden. Hut, Dreiviertelmantel und darunter der modisch saloppe Einreiher. Also, verehrte Zuschauer, für jeden das Richtige, für jeden das Passende und immer preiswert ist das Angebot Ihrer Konsumgenossenschaft. Sie sorgt damit immer besser für die Werktätigen in Stadt und Land.
It's real safely, but we could probably just contact him. Or unless you want to watch out back, I'll go to the front.
Hey! Hey! Come on over here.
Wendy's headquarters, and they sent me a letter. Dear Mr. Wendy, that's me. Thanks for your kind words. Yes, Wendy's hamburgers are delicious because we make them fresh when you order them. And you're right, our classic double with cheese does rock, especially the combo. But to your self-appointed title of Mr. Wendy, unofficial spokesman, our lawyers insist that you cease and desist from representing us. That's him. It's corporate speak for keep up the good work.
Hey, you! Wendy's Classic Hamburgers. It's better here. Looking for an exciting new salad? Try Wendy's Spinach Chicken Salad with fresh romaine and baby spinach, tender pieces of chicken breast filet, and a delicious sweet and sour bacon dressing with only 2.5 grams of fat. Wendy's new Spinach Chicken Salad. It's better here.
I'm standing in the original rat killer. And indeed, these are some of the original rats. It was to this small back room that Dirk, Stig, Nasty, Barry, and Leppo came to relax when they weren't upstairs entertaining the other rats dining in the other rat cellar. Here they had bed and breakfast. There's the bed, the breakfast, of course, long since gone. Rodentally chewed, mouse masticated, in a word, eaten by rats. Here, one weekend, Leppo crawled into a small trunk with a small German Fraulein and was never seen again. Incidentally, Ratkeller means literally, in German, cellar of rats. That's not seller of rats, a seller of rats, a person who sells rats for a living to another man, as it were. Of course not. That means a cellar full of rats. Indeed, one might say that this was a cellar full of rattles. In October...
Do you think skin is in? Do you drive with your feet? Do you like the sound of heavy rock? Then you're a Fredhead. Your appetite for modern Stone Age good times is bigger than a side of Bronto ribs. So grab your water buffalo hat and join Fred, Barney, and a dinosaur that thinks he's a dog for the Flintstones. Tonight at 8 on the Cartoon Network, where the Stones rock.
Taping your favorite shows fast and easy. Just enter the program code numbers found in your TV listings. VCR Plus even changes the channels on your cable box.
I'm Uncle Magic, the hip-hop magician. And I'm Shakim the Clown. I'm on a celebrity call for their kid's birthday party. I'm the one that celebrities call for their kids' birthday parties. We have magic shows, balloon animals, games for kids, popcorn machine, cotton candy machine, and bouncing castle. Call for your kids' birthday parties. 212-613-MAGIC. Who's your favorite uncle? Uncle Magic!
Favorite game, and this is how you play it. You build a nest with marbles, but try not to overweigh it. If you're the one who makes it fall, then you'll know why the game is called Chick-a-boo. Chick-a-boo!
Born to challenge the competition. New Zephyr Z7 from Lincoln Mercury.
Z7 took on our mud bath, our test tracks, even our computers. Now Z7 will take on the world with rack and pinion steering, wide mount strut suspension, front discs. And Z7 is energy engineered for space and mileage with a very competitive price. New Zephyr Z7, born to challenge.
Seven policemen were killed, mostly by friendly fire. The Chicago Times called the workers ragtag and bobtailed cutthroats of Beelzebub from the Rhine, the Danube, the Vistula, and the Elbe. Labor's largest paper called them wild beasts. The respected Albany Law Review called them long-haired, wild-eyed, bad-smelling, atheistic, reckless foreign wretches.
It was front-page news around the world. Remember, Chicago is the world's window into the future. People from around the world really saw it as what city life was going to be like for them, perhaps 10 or 20 years down the road. And when you got into the labor violence, what appeared to be proletarian riots, it was very frightening to people in many places around the world.
Throughout the nation, Americans were almost unanimous in favor of the utmost repression of the anarchists. There was the belief that American civic institutions were being threatened to their core. Foreign-born workers under the leadership of anarchists were seen to be a threat of the first order.
The very next day, martial law was declared in Chicago. A law is passed saying that no more.
Let LensCrafters pay for your eye exam. Just bring us your prescription and exam receipt from the doctors next to LensCrafters or any eye doctor, and we'll deduct up to $45 from your new LensCrafters glasses. Let LensCrafters pay for your eye exam. Hurry, offer ends Thanksgiving Day.
Get the power of 3, the Intel Pentium 3 processor. The American Paradise, United States Virgin Islands.
Uh-oh, kids, cook up some fun. Here come the SpaghettiOs! Uh-oh. And everybody's up. Uh-oh. For those fun-to-eat SpaghettiOs.
You forgot.
What tasty little O's. Uh-oh.
Square butts and I cannot lie. Squid and seesaw can't deny. When a sponge walks in, 4 corners in his pants like he got phone book implants, the crowd shouts. All the ladies stare, and those pants are square. Swinging through the seaweed tangles is a butt with sharp right angles. Now, SpongeBob, I wanna get with ya, cause you're making me rich, ya. Burger King wants me to seal the deal. 99 cents, get a toy and a kid's meal.
Booty is booty. Buy an adult value meal and get a BK Kids meal with a SpongeBob toy for just 99 cents.
Paradise. Paradise. What is paradise? Bounty. Bounty.
Denzel Washington.
And I better say something quick or they're going to start attacking
Yeah,
me.
most games you just blow him up, right?
Yeah,
Before he blows
when
you
I
up.
walk in here, yeah, normally, but
Okay,
in this game, people are going to they're going to try and play a story.
Negotiate.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
okay.
there they go, halt, only those of House Calinger may pass. So
Okay.
say, wait, I wish to parlay.
Parlay meaning?
Give them something to pass.
Okay, so you want to make a deal, not just blow them
I
up.
want to make
okay,
a
you give me
yeah.
this, I'll give you that.
Yes. I'll say, I'll give you a charm if you let me pass.
Okay.
And I'm going to go and give this charm to, it looks like Charles, who looks like, I believe he's the leader.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
So you're going to give that guy a charm and see if that quiets him and lets
yeah,
you go by.
hopefully he'll let me pass and I can go on. Well, he's taken it.
All right.
Thank you. I will pass.
All right, he let you go.
Excellent.
All right. All right, let me ask you a couple of questions
Sure.
in this game. First of all, in a lot of these games, the problem is if you're a newbie, you get on, you just get blasted right away. But in this
Absolutely.
game, you actually reward people for being nice to other players, don't you?
That's right. It's the only way to do it and have a big social game like this.
And how do you reward? I mean, if you don't kill somebody, you get something?
You actually gain power by being friendly to newer
So you're
players.
motivated not to be just totally mean like in these other games.
Right. You want to bring them into your house
Yeah.
and educate them and bring them up.
And in this game, if your character is really dumb and does bad things, you can literally die and be out of the game and lose all the skills you've gained.
You can actually be killed in the game by the more advanced players. Yeah. It's the highest level of social control.
But then you can come back, but then you're starting all over again and
That's
going
right.
up the ladder.
You're starting from
So
scratch.
it's like life.
Very much
All
so.
right,
yeah.
thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, that's our look at online gaming. Next up, a special preview of Windows 98, and I'll be back in just a moment with my pick of the week.
Every version of Windows comes with new and improved utilities that make the operating system more usable. Windows 98 is no exception. Let me show you 3 of my favorites. The first is Drive Converter. This will take your FAT16 hard drive and convert it to a FAT32 hard drive. That just makes it more efficient, especially
Won a 5 all-expense-paid trip to the Super Bowl at the Tombstone Pizza display at Food Lion, or win dozens of other valuable prizes. Entry forms at all Food Lions.
이면수 요약 캠페인実施
半端な奴は近寄るな。超スケールドラゴンボール Z 新武闘伝セガサターンで登場。マジヤバ。漫才電子漫画塾。一つ絵が描ける。二つ絵が動く。三つゲームができる。漫才電子漫画塾。お見事。
They took to their spaceships the moment they heard of the big tangy taste and landed with one thought on their little fruiton minds. Don't let them get any. That tangy taste is much too big for them. In fact, it's humongous. The effect would be shocking. So be careful. Fruit wrinkles. Do not feed to fruitons. The taste is just too big.
We now return to the Library of Congress on Modern Marvels. 75 miles from Capitol Hill in Culpeper, Virginia, the Library of Congress's newly completed Packard campus for audiovisual conservation sits half above ground and half below. Built partially within a former bomb shelter, the building was designed to protect its contents from any catastrophic event. And those contents happen to include the most valuable motion picture artifacts in the world. including 140,000 reels of original nitrate camera negatives and prints from America's first 60 years of movie making.
We're standing in the Library of Congress's nitrate film vaults. 50 of those vaults right behind me here, another 74 on the other side of those doors at the end of the hallway, 124 vaults altogether. Up until about 1951, all theatrical motion pictures that were shown in this country week in and week out that your parents or your grandparents went to were actually shot on nitrate film stock. We have the original camera negative of Jimmy Stewart and Mr. Smith Goes to Washington and all the Frank Capra films. And when I say original camera negative, that means the film that was in the camera when Frank Capra had Jimmy Stewart standing right in front of it. So that's typical of what we have here. Just right here, I'm reaching for one reel of film. This is reel 3 from the original camera negative of Frankenstein, 1931, with Boris Karloff. In fact, reel 3 is the creation scene where "It's alive" is yelled out by Dr. Frankenstein.
Nitrate film stock is highly flammable. If a reel starts burning, not even immersing it in water will extinguish the flames, because when nitrate burns, it creates its own oxygen. No expense was spared in making the nitrate vaults fireproof. Should a nitrate fire ever start in a film canister, it would be contained to one fireproof shelf. Sprinklers angled from above would cascade water in front of the shelves to prevent the fire from spreading outward. The Packard campus is the new home of the most precious film negatives and elements donated to the library.
Got a fresher taste just made for you. Fudge and caramel, lots of peanuts too. Got a fresher taste just made for you.
Kids, it's Rupert. It is now time, boys and girls, for another edition to our Fox 24 Kids Club Artists. Are you ready? Sarah Carson sent in this wonderful sketch of 4 balloons. Nice job, Sarah. This picture makes me want to party.
Beginning to feel it, the intensity. Zorn using play action, throwing again, completes it. Sam McCullum, a first down at the 29-yard line. Ron Bolton made the tackle. Another first down for the Seahawks, who are on the march.
This is the type of Seattle offense that we've become accustomed to.
Into the game now, Mark Bell with a play. Sawyer and Bell rotating with the plays from Jack Patera and his staff.
When Bell comes into the game, he's usually used as a blocker. We may see a draw play here or something of that sort.
Largent comes in motion, and the handoff going to Jim Jodat. And you were exactly right. They were running the football that time, Gene Washington. It was Marshall Harris, number 90, who stalled the ball carrier down at the 27-yard line. Clock turning with 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. The Browns are leading it 20-3.
When Seattle wants to throw the ball, they want John Sawyer in there. He's their best pass-catching tight end.
And you saw Sawyer come back in with the play. He's on the right side, along with Largent split wide right, and McCullum to the left. The throw is complete. Down to the 19-yard line. Jeff Moore right off the shoe tops again. Another excellent catch. Dick Ambrose there on the coverage, number 52, but not much he could do.
Nothing he could do at all. If that ball is thrown low, if the quarterback throws the ball to the receiver and it's low, generally the only guy that has a shot at it is the receiver. Moore makes a very good catch. Ball actually hits his hands and bounces up into his stomach, but he does a good job of holding on.
They did not get the first down. I thought the
gross you out. Whacked out, wild, and weird. Take a peek at the Beak. Beekman's World today on CBS.
Finally, breakfast without that pesky sugar bear.
Don't be alarmed, Granny. We're just here for a little breakfast.
You won't get my golden crisp this time.
tough to beat, but I gotta get my golden puffs of wheat.
Can't get enough of that golden crisp.
Oh, no, you don't.
I'd better reflect on this.
What?
Don't be shocked, Granny. I can never get enough of the honey sweet crunch of golden crisp.
It's part of a complete breakfast.
Pregnant, but Thursday you'll find out who's the father. Friends, NBC Thursday.
On September 11th, 2001, New York City was ruthlessly and criminally attacked. While no tribute can ever heal the pain of that day, the producers of Law & Order dedicate this season to the victims and their families, and to the firefighters and police officers who remind us with their lives and courage what a true...
That's hard work. You, hungry, Crunchy? Kraft peanut butter, my favorite. I think he likes this Kraft peanut butter. This looks like fun. Where are we going now?
What time does the movie start?
In a few minutes.
You could win a Sony home theater with a 41-inch TV as part of this Ultimate Rec Room, or one of 50,000 other prizes. See specially marked packs of Kraft peanut butter.
Scooby-Doo and the gang may have finally met their match. Conjure up the ghost of a 300-year-old witch, and it's going to take more than a box of Scooby snacks to send her back to where she came from. Cartoon Network's Cartoon Theater presents Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost. Saturday at 7, right here on Cartoon Network.
Of your work?
Yes.
Do you make it?
No.
No, he doesn't make it. That's 3 down and 7 to go, Miss Francis.
Do you wear some kind of a costume when you perform?
Yes.
Do you perform any sort of a feat that is requires dexterity?
Yes.
Are you ever off the ground?
Yes.
Aren't we all? So sometimes you go through the air?
Yes.
Do you go through the air with the aid of something as opposed to under your own steam?
Yes. Let me say this, that in the proper execution of the service, it is possible that Mr. Short might be in the air of his own choice, but on other occasions, and of his own volition is what I meant to say, but in other instances he might be helped into the air.
I see. Could you ever do the sort of entertaining you do in a circus? Would that kind of place lend itself to your particular talent?
No.
I don't think he'd do this in a circus, no.
so
That's 4 down and
disappointed.
6 to go, Mr. Sir.
Would you be apt, Mr. Short? You've thrown me off. I had a picture of you on a daring young man on a flying trapeze. Would you ever be likely to do this work that you do at or near an airfield?
At or near an airfield?
Yeah. No.
5 down and 5 to go. Miss Kilgallen.
Is the costume that you wear, Mr. Short, in any sense a protection as well as a decoration?
No.
6 down and 4 to go, Mr. Allen.
Can't imagine how you'll get into the air.
Oh.
You're not Superman, are you?
No conference, please. Mr. Allen.
Oh, dear. Do you work with anyone else?
Yes.
Do they throw you around?
When you were speaking now of those other persons who are necessary to the performance, do they throw him around?
I'm afraid I did mean that. Yeah.
Now, it makes it 7 down and 3 to go, Miss Francis.
So that one would not consider you in any way an acrobat, even.
Been like an unbelievable job.
I've grown up here on 210. It's been amazing.
You know how many people now who are, 25, they started watching the show when they were 15.
Hot eats, cool treats at Dairy Queen.
When you order by number, it adds up to fun with super value meals for as little as $1.89. The hamburger super value meal now just $1.89. Or for a little more, get one of our other super value meals, like one with a double cheeseburger or a grilled chicken sandwich. With super value meals, values as simple as 1, 2, 3.
Be asked if he wants to try the route.
The center has agreed to let us run one north departure out and try the route. You want to be the one to go, or you want me to hunt somebody else?
The pilot volunteers.
Okay, crank them up. Let me know when you're ready.
The offensive lineman. You know, the offensive lineman will get in the huddle now and he'll say, "It wasn't me, it was you. Why did they call my number?" I don't understand that.
They don't quibble back there in the huddle, do they?
Oh, absolutely. Played with a guy by the name of Ron Saul. Thank goodness we had 5 different 4s, 64, 54, 74, and Ron always felt it was somebody else besides him.
The offensive line is still intact for the Eagles. Reeves, Hayden, Darwin, Baker, and Conwell. 2nd and 6. That out there in a big hurry to Mike Quick for a first down. They ran that play in a blink, Joe.
They really did. What they want to do is they want to set Randall Cunningham quick. 3-step drops, 5-step drops. Here he takes 1, 2, 3. Mike comes out, makes the cut, bang. The ball's in the air, well-thrown ball. This is very impressive. This is very, very impressive to me that Randall Cunningham can set and get the ball out that quickly.
A lot of people have been picking on the right cornerback, the veteran Dave Brown.
Yes, they have.
And that's where they went that time. First down at their own 33 for the Eagles. Here comes Byers, and he is met head up, and a flag is down. Byers has been an enigma for the Eagles. They still think he's going to be good, but he hasn't been so far. He's had a lot of problems with his foot.
Well, you know, it's interesting.
Offside Seattle. Offside Seattle.
Fred Young evidently was offside for Seattle.
Defense offside number 50.
The thing that's interesting about Keith Byers is you have to remember he's missed so much at training camp. Everybody says, well, yeah, it's the 12th game of the season. He should be in shape now. Not necessarily. The time you really get in shape for a football season is during the preseason and training camp periods. You just really get out of shape during the regular season.
Here's a fella in the Eagles lineup now that I really like, the junior Tuttle Latasi. We've seen him have some good games. We have an injured player who is Randy Edwards, the defensive end, number 68 of Seattle. And Alonzo Mitz will replace him.
It's time to wash your blankie.
No.
Blankie?
No.
Bologna sandwich.
No.
Okay.
Who says the world has changed?
This is good.
You still love the taste of an Oscar Mayer bologna sandwich. You just forgot.
Blanky.
No.
Quality beef and no fillers. Can you ever be too grown up for Oscar Mayer?
And you have an opportunity to win one of these 2 prizes: a compactor or a new car. First, the nice 1976 Chevrolet Nova sedan, the latest edition of a most popular compact with a size, price, and value that's right for many families. This Chevrolet is equipped with deluxe bumpers and guards, turbo hydromatic transmission, white striped tires, outside mirror, body side molding, AM radio, and power windows. Or second, a compactor. From Roper, a trash compactor with powerful ram action that compacts cans, bottles, and other trash into a round, easy-to-handle package. And either this new car or this compactor can be yours if the price is right. Look at this game coming around here, will you? One of the most exciting games we play. Elisa, there are 4 spaces beside that car for the price of that car in dollars. There are 3 spaces beside that compactor for the price of that compactor in dollars. As I said, you may win the car or the compactor, but if you don't win one of those, you get the money in the piggy bank, and these 3 spaces are for that money in dollars and cents. Now, each digit 0 through 9 is on the board, but each one is there only once. I want you to give me a number. We'll light it up wherever it is. You continue to give me numbers until you light these, and you get the car, or these, and you get the compactor, or these, and you get the money in the piggy bank. What's your first number?
4.
Her first number is 4. Gentlemen, where is number 4? There it is. It's the first number in the price of the car.
6.
Now she wants the 6. Let's give her the 6. And we have it down there in the piggy bank.
9.
Number 9 is Elisa's choice. Let's give Elisa number 9. Good. Another number in the price of the car. Now we have only 2 numbers up there that are vacant.
A 1.
1. She wants the 1. Here comes the 1. And now we have only the last space in the...
What are you doing? What are you actually doing to sell my paintings? You don't tell me what my job is!
What everybody knows about the painter Vincent van Gogh is that he cut off his ear. What everybody doesn't know is that this tortured genius, whose paintings are currently selling for tens of millions of dollars and setting auction records, only sold a single painting during his lifetime. Hardly anybody believed in his talent except for his brother Theo, and theirs was not an easy relationship. In Robert Altman's new film, Vincent and Theo, Van Gogh attacks his brother for not doing a better job of promoting him.
It was a time of L.A. becoming a rock center, a music center. Young musicians were moving here from everywhere else. And there was a whole generic kind of music that was truly peculiar and particular to Los Angeles. It was surfing music. Obviously, the greatest practitioner of surf music were the Beach Boys.
But even the Beach Boys could see that the times were changing. And Brian Wilson knew that his band had to change, too.
Brian Wilson was in a situation that was very commercial. He was being asked to perpetuate that commerciality and did for quite a while.
I got a phone call from Brian. He was extremely depressed about the prospects of having to go out on the road.
Brian's quitting the road was very traumatic. And he was really getting into difficulty in those days.
I had a nervous breakdown as a result of it. I couldn't handle the strain of going on tour. I just couldn't handle that kind of strain. It was like you had to get up every morning, you had to get on a plane, you had to go places. I couldn't handle the strain.
In truth, there was just too much pressure on him. He couldn't be writing and arranging and producing and then going out on the road with this stuff because there was just too much to do.
When he said, I'm not going to tour anymore, and he went in and started making much more elaborate, sophisticated music, he came to the conclusion that there were other things to look into that had more to do with personal musical growth.
So we went in the studio, tried to get something happening where we would be better musically than the Beatles. We realized that they had something like, I want to hold your... They had more electricity than we had, you know? But we wanted to do something that had more music.
An essential fast food establishment.
This place boils.
This place is a little out.
Here are the 3 wheel spinners. Wanda is first. Step over there, Wanda. Spin that wheel. Get $1. Win $1,000. There she goes. We want a $1,000 winner here. Wanda, watch that wheel. 70 cents would be pretty good, and that's what you have. That enough?
Should I stay? I'll stay.
Okay. All right, she's staying with 70 cents, and here is Avelia de Cuba. See?
See?
De Cuba. All right, spin it, Avelia. And Avelia de Cuba has to beat 70 cents in order to stay in the game, and she's not going to do it with this spin. You have 20 cents. Spin it again, Avelia. And look at that spin. She really wants to change things around here. 20 cents in the first spin. And she has too much or too little. 25 cents isn't enough. Thank you, Avelia. Lo siento. All right, Mary Lee, it's your spin. You know the picture. 70 cents is what you have to be. You know. Hey, look at this $1. Is she going to win $1,000? Look out! 15 cents. That's been the story of this whole hour. Spin that again and get 85 cents. 85 cents is what we want. 15 cents in her first spin. Here comes enough to win. If it stops on 60, you're a winner. 75 cents. Lily, the school teacher, is the winner of the second showcase showdown. We'll have the big showcase after these words.
After the ball drops, bring in the new year with Mr. New Year's himself, Dick Clark. He'll be hosting 6 consecutive episodes of The Pyramid right here on Game Show Network. The party starts on New Year's Day at 6 p.m. Eastern. So this year, make a resolution you'll be happy to keep. Watch a New Year's celebration only on Game Show Network.
Let the sun pass you by. The night's the time for your tears. Your heart may be broken tonight, but tomorrow in the morning light, don't let the sun. The nighttime shadows disappear, and with them go all your tears. All morning will bring joy for every girl and boy. So don't let the sun catch you by. But stop your crying when the legend to discover that you've been left all night. I don't forget my love, and it can always come again. Oh,
Hello? Is your refrigerator running?
Yep.
Then you'd better go catch it. Hello? I got up for a drink of water. What'd you get up for?
Here at the Cartoon Network, we're up 24 hours a day. And we'd like you to be, too.
Do you have Prince Albert in a can?
Lasting juicy fruit. Sweet.
Dude, I wanted that.
Yeah? And?
So I'm gonna see you for it.
Gotta have sweet, gotta have longer lasting juicy fruit.
What's with you, Cranky? Don't need glasses to see something's bothering her. Maybe diaper problems you can't see, but baby can feel. Take that strong ammonia.
You can't fight what you can't see.
This can.
Rabbit with enriched borax?
Dreft diaper detergent gets rid of diaper problems you can't see, but baby can feel.
There, all better now.
Sophistication, incredible landscapes, beautiful women has inspired the world's greatest artists. But the local idea of football is weird. I bet you didn't know they even have cowboys in their mountains. Yoo-hoo! It's not what you might expect, but this is the extraordinary Italian region of Tuscany. Italy has been unified since 1861. I'm visiting Tuscany, Italy's heartland and home to the Renaissance. My journey starts in Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance, and takes me to the marble quarries of Carrara. Then I head to the beautiful region of Chianti and its famous wine, and on to Siena for the crazy horse race, the Palio. I learn a few tricks with the Tuscan cowboys in the region of Maremma, then to Elba, Napoleon's place of exile, and to my final destination, Pisa. Situated here on the banks of the River Arno, the city of Florence is a massive and beautiful monument to the Renaissance. In fact, the Florentines say people that visit here, they're not tourists, they're actually cultural pilgrims. Ooh, yeah, I like that. Home to a staggering wealth of art and architectural treasures, Florence has become a great 21st century city. The only trouble with Florence is if you want to stay in the centre of town, it's so expensive. But a cheap room is possible, and that's where I'm heading. They're called pensiones. This is Pensione Scotty. I mean, it's not cheap. It's like €50 a night, but...
Allow me.
Although there were danger signs, supplies of iron were beginning to run low, it was a time of promise. But in 1803, like many of the Darbys, William Reynolds died in his prime, and most of his projects died with him. Depression followed the wars against Napoleon, which ended with the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. In 1818, the Darbys' original furnaces in Colebrookdale were shut down. Shortages of raw materials were making the valley physically old and rather tired. Heavy iron making had moved to Wales and Scotland. The company revived its fortunes by moving into the field of decorative ironware.
Something good is coming up when you get the Bisquick down.
Crack open some piping hot Bisquick biscuits and melt your family's hearts.
Get the Bisquick down. Bisquick! Me and you and me, no matter how they toss the dice, and to be the only one for me is you.
Something's gone wrong in the happy-go-lucky world of Nintendo. Introducing Super Smash Brothers, where all your favorite characters go toe-to-toe in one 4-player star-studded slam fest, only on Nintendo 64.
If you use a dandruff shampoo on Tuesday, but dandruff's back on Thursday, maybe what you've got isn't ordinary dandruff. Ask your doctor. Flaking and itching could be early signs of eczema, seborrhea, psoriasis. New Tegrin medicated shampoo has an invisible medicated barrier that fights bacteria for days. Plus a medication that helps control flaking and itching with just regular use. Try Tegrin medicated shampoo.
Happened at Muroc Air Force Base in California, about 80 miles north of Los Angeles. We know it now as Edwards Air Force Base. Robert Cardenas, another young fighter pilot, was officer in charge on the X-1 program, and he piloted the bomber that carried the X-1 aloft.
I had professors from Caltech and MIT that were out there at Muroc. We had all sorts of people making recommendations, and one of them said, you know, really, we've seen stuff coming in from space explode. Whether it was from heat or what, there could be an ultrasonic barrier out there that might just disintegrate or melt the aircraft.
The test pilots and engineers listened politely to the experts and then got down to business. Bell Aircraft test pilot Chalmers Goodland made the first powered flight in an X-1 aircraft in late 1946. But it would be Chuck Yeager who 10 months later would take the X-1 rocket plane to the speed at which it was meant to fly.
Chuck is a human being, but when he gets in that seat and he locks that door, he becomes part of the machine. In my book, he's no longer a human. He's part of that. He melds in as part of that machine.
Man and machine finally broke through the sound barrier in October of 1947. On the ground, observers heard the crack of a sonic boom. Air Force Captain Chuck Yeager and the X-1 had just launched a new era of supersonic flight.
Chuck was the X-1, period. That was it. And I really don't know if anyone else could have done it.
High airspeeds are described in Mach numbers, using a formula named after an Austrian physicist, Ernst Mach. The speed of sound is Mach 1, and Yeager had reached Mach 1.06 on that historic flight. Later generations of X-1 aircraft would fly twice that speed.
Okay, drop it, Daddy. Drop.
In 1953, Chuck Yeager took one of them to Mach 2.44.
Community, this is my home.
Lifetime Real Women, a new network from Lifetime. No one knows the world of women better.
Lifetime Real Women, coming soon to digital cable from Time Warner.
Thank you. I'm great to be back in Pennsylvania. I went to school here in the third grade, and I was racking my brains all day trying to think of the name of the school, because I was only here 1 year. I do remember my teacher's name. It was Mrs. Cleveland, and she always would say, It's Cleveland, not Cleveland.
She might call in tonight.
You never know. You never know. I was telling you backstage, I've met so many people over the years. My father was in the Navy, and we moved every 2 or 3 years. And especially when you do Broadway or any theater where you're in a specific theater every single night, rather than on location where people don't really know where you are, I've met old high school friends and people I knew even in grade school, all grown up with kids of their own. And I was doing the Elephant Man in New York, and I came out the stage door, and my high school drama teacher was there, Laurel Summers, and from Annandale, Virginia. And she gave me an award, I guess, that I had qualified for back in high school. So I got a Letterman's letter. I mean, it's funny. I'm sure I would have never bought a Letterman's jacket and put it on in high school because it wasn't a wise thing to do when you had varsity football player. What did you letter in? Drama.
Oh, yeah. Band. I know exactly what. Trombone, huh? Here,
yeah,
let me talk to you about that.
But it's fun, you know. I think it's great, and to go back and be able to see places. I went to Yokohama High School.
In Japan?
In Japan, and to go back and see it all again, and from a helicopter, no less, and all the things they say are true. You know, things look smaller to you. You can't believe that this is really your locker, and
was the gym this tiny?
Exactly, exactly, and it seems like everybody remembered me much fonder. I mean, they seem to have had better memories. I said, I don't remember being this popular when I was here.
You probably weren't, but
no, I'm sure I wasn't. I'm sure I wasn't. They were all sort of slack-jawed in amazement.
1, 2, 3, go!
E-squared from Energizer, a whole new battery with a heart of titanium that lets you take power to the next level.
E-squared. You're being tested as a NASCAR brake setup.
The brake glows red hot as it runs through the simulation. A thermal camera records temperatures at initial braking, sometimes called flash temperatures.
To simulate an automotive-sized brake, we have to cool it. Because as you know, as you're moving, you have airflow going around that brake. So we have large cooling fans that are built right into the system that allow us to simulate the exact cooling rate that a car has.
The dynamometer runs the brakes through several cycles, imitating the repetitive braking that occurs during an actual race. Occasionally, they even test racing brakes to the point of failure to avoid them breaking apart on the racetrack.
New 240 horsepower Nissan Pathfinder.
Tuesday, London gets a bigger Ben.
Ben Matlock.
And he brightens the Britons with all-star suspects in a 2-hour mystery.
Couldn't have planned it any better.
A Matlock movie, Tuesday.
Getting a little first-hand look now at ravishing recruit.
Can you remember the gift you got last year? A lot of people can't. But here's one gift you'll remember for years. The Minolta XGM. It's an automatic 35mm SLR that's built to defy comparison. Designed with a unique combination of features, optional motor drive, and access to over 45 Minolta lenses. So if you're looking for a gift in a class by itself, give the camera in a class by itself. The Minolta XGM.
Well, so long, folks. See you all later. It's alive.
It's Jell-O.
It's squishy. It's fruity. It wiggles as it slides down your throat. Eat it before it eats you. J-E-L-L-O.
The electric light, for heaven's sake. Electric current. The breakthroughs were considered miraculous.
Most people in 1900 can remember a time, a very recent time, when most of the things you did in your life were hard work, dirty, and disorganized. There's still a good bit of that around, as a matter of fact, but all around them, particularly in cities, there begin to be amazing things, amazingly precise, well-engineered systems that are beginning to transform a dirty, messy world. Plumbing. You have to be still fairly well-to-do to have plumbing, but it's around, and you know that that's sort of coming. There are a lot of things like that that are sort of right around the corner even for people like you. You can see them around you, and you know that after a while, you'll have them too. The promise that you will have electric lights, and maybe you even have one already, a bulb hanging in your house. Or maybe you even have a hot plate that you plug in, just a little one, but maybe you have one already. This is a hot plate better than a great big, robust iron stove, which is a pretty mature technology, a cook stove? No, doesn't cook nearly as well, but the future, oh.
In 1900, while Americans were dreaming of the future, the world around them was changing, leaving a troubling undercurrent of anxiety and doubt.
No place on the face of the earth in the history of the world had ever changed as fast as 19th century America. And I think Americans felt the whole floor underneath them had given way. Technology seems almost a spontaneous force with a power and life of its own. What it bred, I think, more than anything, is a sense of anxiety. And a lot of people felt they had lost their moorings, literally.
If I'm the ordinary guy in 1900, I am mostly optimistic, but I'm pretty intimidated, too, by these ever-increasingly complex systems that are turning up all around me. I am surrounded now by systems that make me an idiot because I do not know how they work, nor do I know how to fix them, nor do I even know how they made them in the first place.
Brad Pitt. It's not gay. Robert Redford. It's dangerous, and it's not one you want to lose. Spy Game. Premieres Sunday, March 14th at 8 on USA.
Scared Silly, starring Ronald McDonald and the Chicken McNugget. Ronald, nice to see you in this neck of the woods. Come on. What are you making? We're stirring up secret sauces for dipping.
We're ready, boss.
Let's make sauce.
Oh, well, at least I got my hair done.
I have an idea. Whoop-de-doo, McDonald's sauces. You can always count on them to be terrific.
It's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's.
開始早々この左下を強打いたしまして相当に痛めたようであります。したがって大森本来の力は発揮できないものと思われます。これをどうフレッシュコンビの2人がカバーするか、この辺りが大きなポイントであります。今日のメインイベント60分3本勝負。さあ今小松が出てまいりました。小松山崎の対戦ということになりました。赤コーナーもライオネス・アスカが積極的に小松そして小倉由美を使っております。さあ小松が行く。これは強烈でした。もう一発いく。軽いな、はい、軽い動き。すごい。山崎が回転指固めいきました。一転して回転指固め。この辺りは今のはすごいですね。大きな華麗な技。そして立野が行く。タッチして立野が飛んだ空中ラリアート。この辺りクレッシュコンビ鮮やかなコンビネーションを披露しております。さあもう一回ロープに振りました。今度は小松が行きました。そして今ライオネス・アスカにタッチ。ライオネス・アスカの登場でひときわまた場内の歓声を大きくなっております。ファールキックを得てエルボーであります。さあまたエルボーです。連発エルボーの連発。ライオネス・アスカそして死闘であります。バッチリと決まりました。さあ独壇場という感じになりました。 思い切って焚きつけて上からいったカウントが入る。さすがにライオネスアースか貫禄十分。
なかなかいい動きですね。
いい動きですね。
やはり今日長与がね関白したということ、片肺飛行でね 1ヶ月暮らして支えてきましたんですけどね、本当に今日はなんか長与の姿を見て刺激を受けたようですね。
気分的にも吹っ切れたもんがあるんじゃないでしょうか。初の取り試合ぶりを披露しておりますライオネスアースか。今宮本さんの解説通りだと思います。本当にあり長与千草がなんとか5分間のエキシビションを無事につばかえた、そういった気持ちが今のライオネスアースカの動きになってるんだと思いますね。
そうですよね、やはり気分的にもねようやくこうすっきりしたと思うんですよね。
そうでしょうね。さあ戦地が目まぐるしく変わっておりますリング上。今度は
We connect optical fiber in some pretty tight places, so I'm not surprised when my back gets a little tight. When it does, I reach for icy hot. It goes on icy to dull the pain, then gets hot to relax it away. So when things get tight, I call an icy hot.
The founder of Bell Aircraft, Larry Bell, once developed a makeshift bomber for Pancho Villa. Breaking the sound barrier will return on Modern Marvels.
Taste something truly sensational, just look for the NutraSweet Swirl.
You start me up, don't ever quit. NutraSweet's the one, give me just a bit. I wanna taste so yeah.
NutraSweet, why so many things taste so good.
There was people everywhere.
There'd be a couple mattresses there, whatever. Always beer, always pot. People were throwing up.
That was sort of their home base. We saw these guys walk in, the coolest looking punk people we'd ever seen in our lives.
These guys used to wear suits all the time in high school. Some Coolie High type shit. My man took the suit, threw that shit, paint on that shit, glue, put glass, all kind of shit, tear up everything. Now we bad brains.
And they'd walk around Georgetown to hand out these flyers. Are you ready? We are Bad Brains.
The punk rock explosion with the roughest punk band in the world. Bad Brains.
I remember the day I saw them, I mean, we were all waiting for them to start playing, and HR just kind of busted through the...
And if you call now, we'll even give you your first month on the network free.
At theaters Friday.
There are no medals for being the shoulder to cry on. No awards for passing on traditions. But to the men who give their best every day, we give our best. Gillette Sensor XL. Spring-mounted twin blades that adjust to your face. And soft, flexible microfibs that set up your beard. And Gillette Series shaving gel for incredible smoothness. Sensor XL for the closest, most comfortable shave ever. Gillette, the best a man can get.
Well, with Pokemon Pinball, the new way to catch 'em all on Game Boy Color, with its own Rumble feature.
At the end of it, the tapes are returned to the laboratory for analysis. Don Nelson hopes that the results may confirm the theory that sharks have territories. And with the help of data from his colleague Terry Shirata, a picture is emerging.
What Terry found was that during the day, these blue sharks more or less kept in one general area well offshore. But as soon as it became dark, they would move in a direct line in towards the island, spending most of the evening and late night along the island shoreline, and then moving back out to sea again before dawn. It tends to imply that they might have an offshore, inshore type of home range. This is a concept that's not very definite yet, but the fact that they are offshore and can find their way back in implies they know something about the environment.
Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant. A clear, clean, powerful gel that goes on smoothly with no white residue to form an invisible barrier of protection. Gillette Clear Gel Antiperspirant.
Did you know it could actually cost you more to call your state capital than your nation's capital?
I did not know that.
It's true. But with Sprint Nickel Nights Anywhere, in-state and out-of-state calls are all the same nickel all night long. Nickel across the state, nickel across the country.
It's almost too easy.
Sprint Nickel Nights Anywhere. You do the math. We'll do the geography. Switch to Sprint at 1-800-PIN-DROP.
Introducing a new children's cold medicine that makes mom feel better too.
He usually runs away.
This tastes like cherries.
I think it's the bubbles.
They tickle my nose.
It's medicine that works.
Are you sure this medicine?
New Alka-Seltzer Plus children's cold medicine has a fizzy, fresh cherry taste kids love. Best of all, it has the medicine kids need to gently break up their worst symptoms.
It's just what the mom ordered.
New Alka-Seltzer Plus children's cold medicine. You'll both feel better.
You're suffering from sinus pain. You can't take a medicine that can make you drowsy. Sudafed Sinus has a maximum strength pain reliever and the non-drowsy decongestant in Sudafed to relieve sinus headache and congestion, so you stay alert. Sudafed Sinus.
Thank you.
Okay.
Wait, see.
Why don't you chat with him?
I've been trying to get him to get out of the trailer for God knows how long. I don't want him living under the same roof that I live under because he's full-fledged alcoholic and I cannot stand the harassing that he puts me through every weekend.
Someone to save this day.
guy you'll ever see. Snyderman Ken.
Motor Exchange tiene todos los motores más baratos de toda la ciudad. No pague $299 ni $269, sino $249 por bloques cortos Chevy 302 y 350 reconstruidos. Safeway también tiene un surtido de más de 100 motores Dodge, Ford y Chevy en todo momento. Y Safeway vende al por mayor una línea completa de repuestos para carros. También hacen trabajos de máquinas y válvulas. Nadie puede mejorar los precios de Safeway Motor Exchange. Venga al 1869 de Rigsby o llámenos hoy al 337-4447. Llámenos ya.
It's no fun being in Spy League with nothing to spy on. Yeah, the only crime around here is Shin's burrito breath.
Kudos, Kazu kids. We scared the bad guys off with our vigilance.
Vigilance. I scared him off with my flatulence.
You toity mouth! Must you always bring up your bodily functions?
The magic sword, the sword of Lancelot. Is it endowed with a special power? Can it instill confidence where it is lacking? Merlin the Wise uses it to do just that. In this week's adventure of Sir Lancelot, you'll see how King Arthur's seer restores courage in a young knight and enables him to conquer his fears and overwhelm his enemies.
Sort of mildly sarcastic. He plays his older statesman role for all it's worth, but he gradually has fallen in love with this much younger woman, and the relationship between them grows slowly and subtly into one of the most satisfying romances in a long time. Murphy's Romance was directed by Martin Ritt, who also directed Sally Field's great Oscar performance in Norma Ray. I guess when these two team up together on down-to-earth characters like this, they seem to have a special rapport, and it sure shows this time.
I think we also have to credit the writing of this film. James Garner is wonderful. I don't know why he doesn't do more movies, but he has been given some of the greatest lines of dialogue in any film in a long time. Written by Harriet Frank and Irving Ravitch, husband and wife writing team, who also wrote HUD with Marty Ritt. And I like the film, too. I thought it was a little slow getting started. We know where it's going. We know these two characters are going to be brought together. I would have speeded things up a little bit. I would have brought the husband in earlier. And so at the beginning, I wasn't liking the movie very much. But once Garner moves into action, and actually it really does occur at that kiss scene that we just saw, which is about midway through the picture, at that point, this film is very entertaining.
I didn't even think it started slowly. I thought it announced itself as having a certain deliberate pace similar to the life in that town. In other words, things don't happen real fast here. People size each other up. Everybody in that town is wondering what Murphy's going to do now that his wife is dead, and half the people in town want him to get together with this young woman who's moved in.
Yeah.
So that kind of pacing, I felt, was even part of the pleasure.
Except that she did reconstruct that ranch where she's working at pretty fast. So that pace was very fast.
Off screen.
Yeah,
right.
very fast. Anyway, a very entertaining film. Coming up next at the movies, the controversy over the much-praised movie The Color Purple. Is it, as some people claim, racist?
This here's my juke joint.
You said this here our juke joint.
Listen, when we get a man dance with his wife...
It felt weird. The environment started to impact how we thought about our music.
It was really lawless and free, and I think the music got that way really quick.
But everybody knew what the subtext to all that was, because everybody knew that 12/5 at Monteverde means we've got to go back and completely rewrite the books on our notions of when people came into the Americas, the routes by which they would have come, their adaptations, and on and on and on.
If people settled the southernmost point in the Americas a full 1,000 years before Clovis culture, when must this extraordinary journey have begun?
Engie Clothes, presenting Woolite dye magnet sheets. Adding one sheet to every load can help trap loose dyes in your wash. And what gets on the sheet can't get on your clothes. Woolite dye magnet dye trapping sheets help keep clothes looking newer longer. On America's Funniest Home Video.
That felt great. I needed a workout. You know, a few weeks back, we gave out an assignment for you video buffs and those of you with clothes on. We asked you to hide your camcorders and capture people getting surprised. Some of you hid your camcorders so well, you're still looking for them. But those of you who found them sent in videos like these. How to make an open-faced sandwich. First, you start with an open face. You put it in a pot of salted water, bring to a simmer, invite over a guest, and it scares one.
Honey, would you please run down to the store and get me some more window cleaner?
You won't be needing any.
Are you still alive?
Some boys just don't want to be seen playing with Barbie dolls.
I don't want to see me play with Barbie.
In-laws been visiting too much? Well, here's a way to make them burn rubber. Put it on a bun.
I can't even bite a juice. Have you tried to eat juice? Look here, I can't eat it.
If the soup is done, please raise your hand. Thank you, Thing.
John's ready for the big mini race. Bebop's playing dirty. Mini Mutant raps on his news cycle. Nobody's gonna catch Leo. He's flying through the City Wars playset. Shredder's tearing up the road on his turtle cycle. He's headed straight for the Pizza Wars playset. Raph's got him covered. Mutant modules in the race too. Copter's making a pizza stop. Here's a Mini Toon pizza to go.
Mini Mutant Turtle Transports and Mini Mutant Bodacious Battle Sets from Playmates.
You lose, Shredder. Done.
That will gross you out. Whacked out, wild, and weird. Take a peek at the Beak. Beakman's World today on CBS.
Adults see things differently than kids. You see a normal room. They see.
A pigsty. A pigsty.
You see fun. They see.
Craziness. Craziness.
You hear music. They hear.
Noise.
And what you see as an extremely cool new can for high C, they see as...
Nice paperweight.
Someday you'll be an adult, so maybe you should drink outrageous tasting high C in the new can now, while there's still time.
This is a change. This is new. Howard Johnson, can this be you? This is Howard Johnson today. This is Howard Johnson today. This is Howard Johnson today. Changing in so many colorful, comfortable, welcoming ways. This is Howard Johnson today. This is Howard Johnson today.
It's all running good. It's everything's coming together all in one shot. I had a real bad night last night. Put it all back together. It seems to be doing good. I hope to take it all the way.
You run a lot of exhibition stuff all around the country. This is the first opportunity I've had to see you actually race with these TNT monster trucks. How do they stack up? Are they what you thought they would be as far as being tough?
There's a couple of them that I don't think I really got a chance against, but I'll just give it my best. There's a lot of guys out there that are strong running guys. They do it for a living. It's a hobby for me. I'd like to make it a living. I'm working at it.
Tell you what, you've impressed a whole lot of people. Good luck in the next round.
Thank you, Arnold.
4 minutes. Anderson is on the clock. He's got 4 minutes to get in. But as you can see in the pit, our camera's showing it to you. Anderson will make it. Now, the folks inside don't know it yet. They're going to roar when they see him come through the door. Tracy Smart at the start line also has a clock on him as they're checking the clock. Dennis will make it, and the fans are going to go nuts when they see him come through that door.
Well, the situation is he's going to take all that 5 minutes he can. I don't look for him to come in until less than a minute. The reason he will not come in is that he's trying to get air in the tire. He just told Chris outside he's going to...
Tag Team, or else. Mario Kart Double Dash. Drive, throw stuff, switch. Only for Nintendo GameCube. Rated for everyone. GameCube.
Are you with the CIA? No, I'm with the Woolwich.
It's the safe place.
Are you with us, Uncle Sebastian?
No, I am with the Woolwich. It's the safe place.
Are you with
cost a lot to us.
Over 1 million savers are with the Woolwich.
It's the safe place with the nice face.
Good morning.
Your money's safe with the Woolwich.
Not a bloody stitch on.
Hate, as personal as your own pulse.
I didn't kill her.
But the normal method of acquiring books was, of course, by purchasing them. And there were marts and markets for books. So, in this way, Alexandria acquired the largest collection of books ever existed in antiquity.
How many scrolls were eventually contained within the libraries at Alexandria? Ptolemy's goal was to have every existing written work in the Greek world and beyond. The secondary collection, located in the Serapeum, alone was said to hold 300,000 books. But over the course of history, the collection grew even larger.
We don't know how many books there were. The best authority I know of says about 400, 500,000, which is an awfully big library by anybody's standards. But counting books is a very inexact science.
Manuscripts were not just stored away at the Alexandria Library. They were used as research and reference for other, newer scholars. And priceless books were copied by local scribes and traded for books from other parts of the ancient world. Some of the most significant works in history could have been lost forever were it not for scrolls copied in Alexandria.
The main significance of the library and the museum at Alexandria is that it did what a great library does. It disseminates knowledge. When you go in and take a book out of the library, you're performing one of the great basic cultural functions, and the library is doing its job.
Each piece had to be cataloged, perhaps cross-referenced, and put away. Librarians had to be able to retrieve the works easily, and scores of new works were constantly pouring in. Along with more material for the library came more visitors. Scholars were drawn to Alexandria.
I'm holding the future in my hand. The Dialite Forever bulb, guaranteed to last for 20 years. 20 years! So, how many ordinary light bulbs does it take to equal one Forever bulb? Quite a few. And remember, we guarantee it. Looks like a light shower.
Turn me on, I'll light your light forever, forever.
The Forever bulb from Dialite.
Of America were sending me donations and sending money so we could go to the base exchange and buy the things to drop to the children of Berlin.
But one little girl wanted something special.
So I wrote to him, "Dear Chocolate Uncle, you fly over Friedenau every day. Please drop a parachute over the garden with the white chickens. They've stopped laying.
They think you're a chicken hawk, and the eggs aren't coming anymore, and their feathers are falling out." And then the last part of the letter, she said, "When you see the white chickens, drop it there."
The Oak Furniture Factory is closing its Hilltop store. Everyone...
Hallmark. At our house, we have a tradition we started with our first daughter. Each year, we let the girls pick out a new Christmas ornament. It's always a Hallmark. It's a big deal to them because it's their ornament, and they always remember which ones are theirs. Last night, after the kids had gone to bed, I looked at the tree and could just see all the memories. I really wanted to preserve that forever. And then I realized that we had.
This Christmas, find the Hallmark keepsake ornaments that help you capture your memories.
An old girlfriend played by Laura Linney.
You knew I was coming here, didn't you? You knew I would defend him. That's why you took the case. You asked Shaughnessy for this, didn't you?
Oh, please. What's the matter, Marty? You nervous? Been a while since you rubbed up against a woman with a brain.
The courtroom scenes, when they're not predictable, are over the top too, including this behind-the-scenes showdown with the judge, Alfre Woodard.
I'm striking Shaughnessy's testimony from the record as irrelevant, and I'm holding you in contempt to the tune of $10,000.
So what you're telling me is, I can't get a fair trial in your courtroom, is that it?
Be very, very careful, Mr. Bale. You're in dangerous ground here.
The killing of and the accusations thrown at the Archbishop are horrific. A subplot involving real estate development isn't worthy of the murder intrigue. Only the performance by Edward Norton, a young actor making his feature film debut, has some soul and wit, and I look forward to seeing him in another film soon. But aside from his work, which is terrific, thumbs down from me on Primal Fear.
Oh, thumbs up for me, Gene,
Really?
and really with a lot of enthusiasm, too. This is Richard Gere's best work in a long time. This is a terrific performance.
I thought that he mouthed all the standard things that like a high school kid would write about the law, that everyone's entitled to a defense.
You're going to criticize him for the script? You're not criticizing his performance now.
Wait a minute. I'm criticizing the movie, which is what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
All of that is boilerplate law 101.
I think this is obviously
You've heard it all
this
before.
is the John Grisham genre, and it's better than the John Grisham films. I mean,
That
we
isn't
know
that much of a compliment.
we know that they're going to hype up all of the sensationalism, that there's
Yeah.
going to be a red herring to throw us off the track, that there's going to be a surprise.
And the old working against the old girlfriend.
Really well done. It's well visualized. There's good music. There's good performances right through the movie. The fact that he has this relationship with the woman who's on the other side is part of the formula. I didn't object to that. And as far as Gere is concerned, this is a performance that goes back to American Gigolo or to Mr. Jones, some of his very best work.
Those were original guys. Roger, this is standard stuff. The lawyer who takes on the tough cases.
Gene, there's such a thing as good.
I run into people all the time that have never shopped at a Men's Warehouse store, and I say the same thing to everybody. Give us 1 minute. Just come into our store for 60 seconds, and you'll become a Men's Warehouse customer. I guarantee it.
Voyager's astronavigators must anticipate everything in advance and must make onboard programs to meet every contingency because of the time delay in sending and receiving information.
Not a great swimmer.
I think you swim beautifully.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Wait, Dory?
Yes?
Dory?
Yes.
You and I were friends.
No.
It was so much fun because I'd tell you a story and then you'd completely forget about it, and then I'd get to tell it to you over and over again.
I'm looking for my family.
Are you crazy? It's too dangerous. Hands!
Hands? Mommy?
Holy Neptune.
That is definitely not Mommy.
Four walls to see. Four walls to near me, closing in on me. Sometimes I ask why I'm waiting, but my walls have nothing to say.
She's the hills, she's the beautiful valleys. I often sip coke in the shade of her touch. Her beauty will be mine forever, 'cause I've learned to love her enough. Here I come.
Devils.
Just a kiss of golden honey on those little golden grahams. A kiss of golden honey makes you smile and wanna say, tastes like honey graham crackers, crispy, crunchy all the way. Oh yeah, it's gonna be a golden grahams day.
Tastes like crisp little honey graham crackers.
part of this good, nutritious breakfast.
Just a kiss of golden honey makes you smile and wanna say, oh yeah, it's gonna be a golden rain's day.
To Grand Canyon in such a way as to both provide power generation as needed and still protect the beaches from being eroded away.
As this historical footage shows, the wild pre-dam Colorado, whose name means red in Spanish, carried a heavy load of sediment as it coursed through canyons. Now, its powerful surge is stopped at Glen Canyon Dam, and the sediment settles out, dropping to the bottom of Lake Powell. So the Colorado River of today is clear and green. It's also far colder, 45 degrees year-round, because the water released into the canyon comes from deep in Lake Powell. Wild trout flourish in the colder temperatures. The canyon's native fish are in trouble. 2 species have been wiped out, and others, like this unusual humpback chub, are endangered. Deer have always been seen near the river, but it's unknown how they're being affected by another major change here, a dramatic increase in vegetation. Now that the dam stops the floods that used to tear away young plant life, this new, larger corridor of greenery has taken hold. The new growth supports more insects, more reptiles, and more bird life. But what the dam has created, it may one day take away. Plants are rooted in sand, and if the beaches continue to be eroded, this new vegetation may disappear with them. The environmental impact study will ultimately take into account the conclusions of 94 scientific research projects, tracking all the changes in the canyon, great and small. In November 1991, the Secretary of the Interior made an interim decision to reduce peak flows of water at the dam by 70%. A final decision is expected in 1994. Back on the river.
Marathon, Sunday at noon, only on Cartoon Network.
The Cartoon Network gives you great cartoons all day, every day, but you're still hungry for more.
Give me more!
All right, you cartoon hogs, feast on this. 3 hours every Sunday afternoon for a super chunk of one of your favorite toon stars, like Johnny Quest.
Give me more!
Or Godzilla.
Give me more!
Ooh, you little piggy.
Super Chunk!
3 straight hours, one great toon star. It's Super Chunk. Sundays at 4 on the only network that can feed your toon hunger. Cartoon Network.
New Dempster's hot and crusty bread. It goes from your freezer to the table in only 10 minutes. So if you're not quick, the bread may be ready before you are. Fresh baked bread from your freezer to the table in only 10 minutes. Enjoy all the aroma and delicious taste of bakery fresh bread at home. Look for Dempster's hot and crusty in your grocer's freezer. Try it anytime. After all, practice makes perfect.
To Darwin, you could say yes.
I wouldn't say that they are animals, though.
Animals? They're not animals? We're after more than one thing, though, aren't we?
Yes.
Are they of the bird family?
No. $20 down and $60 to go.
I don't think I would. I don't
Mr.
think
Melville Cooper.
These things you take to parties, Veronica, they're not part of an animal. Are they part of an
They
animal?
are part of an animal, yes.
Part
they
of
are.
an animal. Are they ornamental?
No.
No.
It's a matter of opinion.
Just take
She
a
says
blonde,
no,
I
and I
think.
say yes.
Yeah. Well, taking to parties, not ornamental? Well, it might be almost anything, I would suggest. Something like a good luck charm in any way?
No.
Not good luck?
No.
Not ornamental?
It'll be rather bad luck to be without them. $30 down and $50 to go, Miss Lorraine Day.
Veronica, are these part of your body?
Yes.
Above the waist?
No.
Below the waist? Would they be knees?
No.
Legs?
No.
Feet?
Yes.
Something about your feet. They aren't flat, are they, Veronica? Do you have more toes than you should have?
What a question for one glamour girl to ask another. It's $40 down and $40 to go. And it's our last time around, Bill Cullen.
Are your feet sore?
Occasionally.
That has nothing to do with the secret, however.
Is it something about your feet that is not normal?
In a way, yes.
Oh, I would say remotely we would have to say yes.
Have to do with the shape of your feet?
No.
The size of your feet?
Yes.
Well, they're either... I gotta take one of the two. Are your feet too small?
No.
I think that the roof fell in on them, I hope. And we will also have a famous mystery guest before the panel a little bit later in the program. And we'll meet our first challenger.
Bigfoot is back and going after the World Championship. Who does he meet in the quarterfinals? Memphis BK and Awesome Kong.
Scott Douglas, grab your honey and hold on tight. The bad boys are in Memphis tonight. Who's it going to be? Watch the light go green. Oh, can you believe this?
Look at Bigfoot. He blew Awesome Kong away in Memphis, Tennessee. It was not even the lane he qualified in. He switched lanes, and he still went by a full length over Awesome Kong. Army's working his way over to Andy Brass, and we've got to hear what Brass has got to say about this new Bigfoot.
Andy, we talked about you having this field covered early. All the other drivers are trying to figure it out. Now you come out and really throw a trump card on them. You go to the other lane. You got so much confidence it doesn't make any difference where you run this truck?
Yeah, that's about right. You know, the truck's running real good tonight, and lane choice is not real particular to me right now at this moment. You know, both lanes are looking pretty good. We're landing about the end down on the ramp, so it's just kind of where I want to start out on the hill.
I pray we never, ever get video conferencing.
You get the best of everything at Finest Friendly Markets. Higher quality, lower prices, and friendly service. We're working harder to make your shopping easier. We're even making checkout quicker. When it comes to friendly service and big savings, Finest.
Annual Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is being sponsored in part by Bank of America, Higher Standard, and by Royal Caribbean. Get out there and take a Royal Caribbean cruise vacation. American Idol's Clay Aiken, Recording Legends Chicago, the cast of NBC's Happy Family, plus a number from Broadway's Never Gonna Dance, when Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade continues live here on NBC.
Worked with Ricky Nelson. We recorded a song called Hello Mary Lou. I get an awful lot of questions about that solo I played. My style was created at a very early age. I'll demonstrate that with maybe a two-string chicken picking sound. I don't consider it rockabilly. What I did was I took like the country and the rhythm and blues and mixed it together and came out with more of a rock and roll feel.
Then you got a guy like Chuck Berry, who basically, boom, dropped into the scene, wrote 35 songs in 4 years, all classics, and invented a style of guitar playing that, to this day, everybody sort of has to pass through the Chuck Berry portal to get to the next step.
best in new and used gags, come to Gag Warehouse's Summer Clearance Spectacular. Conveniently located on your TV, Sunday from 4 to 7, only on Cartoon Network.
Tyrano, you be okay? Yeah, Shiloh. And he'll be out after us again soon enough. Popcorn, please. We'll be right back.
Hold your finger there so they can.
There
they got
we
it.
go.
They got
Yeah,
it. Yeah. Check this one out close up.
Absolutely one of my
The
favorites.
90 common cards, all done exclusively for QVC, uncut cards. Some of the most desirable collectibles if you're going out to the conventions, and we will be the only primary dealer to have this, to get it at this kind of a price.
You will never see this in the secondary market for less than $100. I can assure you.
I would bet. I mean, this
is a great set.
It's got everything. It's got the Slitter's Guide, all the printer's guides on the side. It is a true uncut sheet.
And the set hasn't even come out yet. We've never had that before.
That's right.
It's an amazing piece of art just on its own. Because a lot of trading card sets, you have different artists on it.
Yep. All you will do is add about 3 to 5 days to your regular QVC delivery time, and it'll be there. You'll be the first person to have this. Let's take a look at, so many things have sold out, but here's what remains. The Art of Dave Dorman, making its world premiere tonight. Autographed by the artist, $25. F11,
beautiful book.
$600. Stunning. And a must-have. That's a must-have, so is this. Industrial Light and Magic, the hardcover book. If there are any of these left when I get off the air, I'm ordering one, because that, every movie they've done digitally, I mean, you'll get the background behind The Mask, Jurassic Park, Young Indy, the television series.
And the new special edition.
That's right. You'll get the first views of that in this book, $80. Also, the Star Wars movie poster, gold foil card, number 5 in the series, $29, C36, $429. Exclusive to QVC. T-shirts, we have Han Solo, and I believe just a few of the Darth Vaders remaining. And such an opportunity, the brand new Star Wars novel, The New Rebellion by Christine Rush, autographed by Christine. Won't be in the stores for weeks. You'll have first crack at it, $22 for that great story. And your choice of the Star Wars pop-up book, $16 or $17, C35, $846. And a handful of these remain. The Trilogy Ingot with that brand new one-sheet artwork on that 24-karat gold covered ingot. And the finest, the Star Wars.
A double pleasure's waiting for you. A double pleasure from Double Mint Gum. A double great feeling, making you realize Double is the one for you. Double fresh, double smooth, double delicious to chew. A double pleasure is waiting for you. Double Mint Gum. A double pleasure is waiting for you. Double Mint Gum.
It haunts you all weekend long. Monday. Need we say more? Nick knows Mondays are the pits, so we're giving them a total tune-up with Maxed Out Mondays. It's a 5-hour block jam-packed with a different cartoon every Monday in December. It'll be so maxed out, you won't believe it's Monday. Maxed Out Mondays. You can get all tense, or you can get all maxed out with Maxed Out Mondays, starting Monday, December 5th, only on Nick.